My account just crossed $500,000 today, and I wanted to show you some of the lessons that I've learned that you can apply into your trading account that helped me get from $12,000 10 years ago in this account to $500,000 today. So let's dive in. The short notes is what I've learned, and parentheses, you're going to get better with time. That's really kind of the answer, is more time in the market, but I'm going to show you what I learned. And remember, this is for educational purposes only. And since you guys are probably watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe and like button. That way you guys can see more of this when I put them out. Okay, so today is September 16th. This is the day that my account happened to cross just over $500,000. You can see that right here at the close of the day. And if you go back and you look here, this was also September 2015, and I had about $12,000 in this account. And this was my longer term trading account. I mostly did stock in this. I've only recently, probably in the last year and a half, have I actually started putting some options in this account. So this is mostly stock. And I think that is also pretty impressive, going from $12,000 working my way up to $500,000 in the course of 10 years. Now, maybe some other traders could do this much faster. In fact, just to show you that I am capable of trading other things very quickly, you can see here that in 2020 into 2021, I took a $700,000 account to 5.5 million. That was a 758% gain in 4 months. So that was pretty impressive. And then also most recently, the big 2,000% gain that I got, it made the one of my accounts go 1,400%. That turned $38,000 into $683,000 in 30 days. So just to kind of show you what else I'm doing, but this particular account, I thought that people could relate to, because it took me 10 years, and this is a longer term, kind of slower account that I wanted to be working with. And there you go, $12,000 to $500,000. Now, what I do is I'm going to show you some examples of some of the lessons that I've learned over the course of time that helped me get here. But the other interesting thing is to actually walk through the overlay of what this actually looks like, because there's a story here. And what it is you can see that back in the end of 2024, the market was actually doing great. In fact, we knew like interest rates were coming down. The market overall was been doing great. In fact, the market bottomed in 2023. But this is when we started to see some of the small caps actually start working out. And once again, you can see kind of in short order, I want to say this is maybe like 100,000 to just over that $200,000. So I was able to more than double this account in the last few months of 2024. And yeah, the market was rocking and rolling. And then what happened was kind of the surprise of the tariff tantrums. And you can see that because this is a longer term account, I was actually trying to hang on to some stuff. I was trying to hedge it as well. And what you can see is that, yes, the account was going down during that time when it was kind of challenging. Now, the thing to note, and this is where actually if we overlay this is going to be very interesting. So let's do this, and we come over to the longer term thing. This was kind of something that I was thinking about that would be interesting to do. So we come over here and look at how this account was performing when the market was doing whatever it was doing. I made sure I was mentally prepared for this, but right here is where I went to cash in most of my accounts. But this one I kept on a little bit longer. And what you can really see is look here at the middle of March to the middle of April, and you see that the account basically bottomed out. It didn't go any higher. But look what happened from middle of March to the middle of April. The market fell off an absolute cliff. And number one, that was part of showing what was going on with the stocks that I was in, that they were holding up. Maybe it was my hedging abilities, and also mostly going to cash and just removing risk. And you can see that I missed probably the worst part of the market right there. And you can see because my account basically was double bottoming or flat and kind of in that area. And then what you can see is right in this area is where I started to really get some traction, because I could see that the bottom of the market was actually in. And this is one of those things that time in the market, if you guys are trying to do this as a profession and kind of as your future life goals, just being in the market, experiencing things like this, all the craziness that comes with the market, you will learn things over time. You will become better. You will observe things more. If you stay dedicated to this, just time in the game is important. And that's where I was able to see that this market was in fact ready to start going back up. And this is where I basically loaded the boat. Okay. I was like, I'm just absolutely loading the boat. And this is where this is where I said I started doing options in this account, and I got aggressive and I went very heavily in SOXL, both in stock and in options. And you can see here when that hit, that was that 2,000% gain in that move. I mean, it looks like I just dropped money into this account, but that was it. That was basically this jump right here. If you can see it right here, that was when the Trump administration spoke to China and they said we have a deal, and that's when that thing went up. And you can see that's how the account did really, really well. And then you can see managed to hold on to it. Then another little bump in the account, looking pretty good. We did have our strength into July, so July was pretty strong. But then we started getting that seasonal weakness. And for a while, the market and my trades were able to hang on to it. You could see that most of August kind of able to hang on to this. But if you guys are aware and you've spent some time in the market, you understand that we did get some weakness into the end of August and to some September. I know the index, the markets don't really show it, but underneath the surface, there were a lot of stocks that were actually pulling back. And remember, this is a longer term account. But now you can see that the seasonal weakness was over. We started getting some good data points as far as the economy. And pretty quickly, this went from just over $300,000 to $500,000. And that's kind of this is just the experience of what it's like to be in the market. I had all my positions set. I had my long-term stuff. I was ready to go. And you can see that I was kind of mid 400s, and then we got the seasonal weakness, but I stayed in most of them and then maybe added to the dip. And then you can see now the market has come right back, and now it's even higher. And this is part of what I've had to learn over the course of time, just how to be better at trading. And so if we look at some of these examples, it's like, okay, what am I better at? Well, number one, when to sell. I think this is something I've gotten just so much better at over the course of time. And the way to kind of tell you that is if you look here, when the market started to do its tariff tantrum and go down because of all the tariffs, maybe I wasn't as sharp as I could have, but I went to cash right there. And I told everybody in the room and my subscribers, I'm going to cash. And thank goodness I did, because you can see just the disaster that happened after here. So, definitely got nicked a little bit, but, compared to what happened, I'm pretty happy that I went absolutely to cash on the rest of my accounts. So that's pretty good. And then getting out of bad trades, I think that's another thing that I'm pretty good at, whether I get stopped out. Like there was a trade we just took, IonQ. I took it a few weeks ago at the top. It pulled back. I got out of it. But then a few weeks later, it popped up again. I got in, and then I made almost 300% on some options with it. So you just need to recognize when the trade's on or if it's not the right time, something like that. And market shifts. And that's another thing that I think I'm really good at. I certainly learned my lesson back in 2021, because that's when the small caps all started to get just absolutely demolished after the whole COVID rally, COVID bull market. But they needed to put the genie back in the lamp. And so they started raising interest rates and trying to put inflation back, and it just demolished the small caps. And that was not great for me. And we didn't have all these single stock leverage ETFs to be trading. So I was kind of limited as to what I could do. And so I definitely learned from that. And if you look at here, the other thing, if we look at Robinhood, we got in here. I got in here, and this is what I alerted out to the Moxie room. And we took a couple exits and got back in. We were trading this along the way, but the core position is I got in down here, and this was with their leveraged ETF called Robin, ROBN. And so from the low here to my final exit up here was, I think it was just over 300%. You can go back and look at this and see what that measures on ROBN. And that was the other thing. I feel like I'm good at taking profits and knowing when to get out. And I'm happy that I got all out right there, because if I was trading options, I'd be dead if I didn't have enough time, because you can see how the market just went sideways. And I was able to recognize that Robinhood was getting overbought and stretched and was unlikely to keep going up at this moment, and especially with what was going on with the market as well. So I got completely out here, and then now you can actually see that Robinhood has been added to the S&P 500, so that's why it's up. Didn't chase it yet, but you know what? It looks like it might be time to get back into Robinhood in this particular situation. Can't confirm yet, but looking pretty good. And you know what that means? It means I missed all of the headache of right there of dealing with that chop. So because I just didn't want to do that, I got my over 300%, and now what I can do is, if this is going to go back up, I can jump right back in and get the next wave if that's what's going to be happening. So I do think I think I'm much better at handling selling, whether taking profits or getting out of bad trades, or just understanding when the market's going to shift, like the whole tariff tantrum thing. Okay. And then the other thing that I feel that I am better at now is holding through flags and riding the trend. Now, of course, you need to have a good environment and a good market in order to do this. And the reason why I put this one on here is because in my Moxie trading room, I've heard a lot of people, a lot of the subscribers comment like, wow, I don't know how TG was able to hang on to that for so long, or there was so much choppy. He's like, I don't know how he does it, how he has the fortitude to last and hang on to something like this and see it until it actually moves. And of course, I'm not always perfect on something like that, but part of that situation was RCAT. We were in RCAT here, and then I got out here, and then we got back in here, and then I started adding here, and I got added another place in here. And so we've been trading RCAT quite a bit. And this last one, I really thought RCAT was going to kind of move up faster sooner, but it didn't. It just kept wallowing around and through here. And the market was kind of under pressure too. And now we finally have the news that they're allowed to sell to NATO and all that kind of stuff. So huge volume, big move, and nice bull flag. And I've been telling everybody in the Moxie room what to do in through here and how to take advantage of this. And the fact that this had been, almost 2 months, like 6 weeks, that this thing was just going sideways. And I said, don't get out. I'm staying in. Let's make sure it just doesn't fall apart. We'll stick with this thing. And I think it's going to work out. And when it finally did start to work out, a lot of people are like, oh my God, how are you able to stay in this? And that is just part of the experience of being through several market cycles, recognizing that we are in a good market environment, and being able to see that at some point prices on certain stocks don't want to go down. They're just kind of going sideways. And that's bullish. We saw that with Tesla recently too. Or how about this with BKSY? You can see right here, there was a nice bull flag, took a little dip, but then look at the move that I had up there. Or this one that we actually traded right there. I got in right there, and then this thing absolutely went skyward, which was amazing. And that's the thing, is being able to see when these things are starting to load up and get ready to go, holding through flags and riding the trend. And then same thing here. Here's BMNR. Now this one, again, maybe I didn't do it perfectly as far as all of my entries and trades on this. I was trying to be aggressive, but the market said otherwise. But I didn't get out of my positions. And in fact, I kept holding on to it and adding to them, which is part of either riding the trend or kind of holding through these flags. My original entry was right here. Actually, I take that back. I think my first entry was something like right there, and then I got out right there. So again, to the first part, I'm getting better. I'm much better at exiting trades that don't work. So I'm glad I got out there. But then we got right back in right here. It went up, I don't even know what percent, 35 to 65. And then I was being aggressive and I added there. Okay, maybe not the greatest place, but I told everyone, I said, I'm not getting out of this thing because I know what's going to be happening here. And then you can see there was kind of a double bottom and it looked like it was going to go there. And our market said, no, we're not going to go either, but I added there. And these were all stock that I added. So I wasn't too worried about theta decay and time decay and stuff like that. But then when BMNR pulled back like this and I could see that the market was starting to shape up better, that looked much better. And it was exactly that point that I sent out another alert and said, I'm getting aggressive, I'm adding to this, and this time I'm taking options on this. And you can see that was the right move in the right situation. And look at where we are. Price is right back now. I'm profitable in this trade, and I'm almost profitable on this trade. And this is, it really does help to have a good, strong market, to have a market that's working for you, but also just to kind of realize, where you are in the phase of certain cycles and stock patterns and stuff like this. And in this case, that I didn't get stopped out. I was able to keep my range big enough and had the confidence that this thing was going to work out fairly well. Same thing with this kind of range and with this range, that were all trades that I did actually take. So these are some of the things that I think, based on the comments that I get in the Moxie room, being surprised or astonished or like, wow, it's amazing that you could do that. I think that people struggle with, and trust me, I still struggle sometimes of being in flags. Sometimes I'll get stopped out or think this thing's going to roll over and it comes right back. But there is a period of time where you can see that the market or tickers just don't want to go down, or they're in a range. And you just need to keep watching them and then be ready to pounce when you can see that these things are finally ready to move up, up and out. And then that's where you can jump on them, take care of them, and actually make some good gains and good profits from them. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you guys. And remember, if you guys are interested, come on over to simplertrading.com/Moxie. You can come in for a $7 30-day trial. You can see how I do. You can talk to me on the mic. I know we've got a bunch of new people that come in. They say hello in the chat room. We have a great chat room, guys. A lot of people in there, a lot of activity. If you have questions, other traders, other subscribers just like you help answer them. There's a lot of information that goes around there. It is not chaotic the way that I see some free Discord groups and stuff out there. Okay, so I've been in some of those groups trying to see what's going on. I'm telling you, this is nice, calm, orderly. I am on the mic every single day, at least for an hour, and this is where you can come find out more information about me, exactly how I trade, my guidance to everybody through the market, and how we watch all these trades every day. And there oftentimes I get to know your name, especially if you're kind of chatty in the room and you ask me about certain stocks, and we will start tracking those stocks, like SoundHound. There's one person in there who keeps asking me about SoundHound, so we're tracking SoundHound, and we watch and watch and watch, and I give my everyday play-by-play observation of how SoundHound is moving. In fact, it looks pretty good right now if you just want to take a little note on that one. But that's how you can do this. And if you guys are more interested, we have a huge education learning package. You can buy the Moxie Indicator, which is available on TradingView, Thinkorswim, and StockCharts.com. We have everything covered for you. Just come into the room. This market is great. We have been making new all-time highs. The Fed is about to cut rates. I think that it's going to be a good thing. Even if the market takes a dip, I think it's going to be a buyable dip. And this market is doing absolutely wonderful. I don't want you to miss out, and I hope to see you guys in the Moxie room. We're having a great time, so it would be great to come see you, and make sure to say hi when you do, okay? So simplertrading.com/Moxie, and we'll see you there. Take care.